Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel for this Tuesday morning, afternoon or evening across the world where you may be at. I hope you're all well. And today, as many of you know, I'm a big Elvis Presley fan. I know I've already done one review on this film when I went to the theatre to see it. But today I'm going to be reviewing Elvis the movie for a second time, because yesterday whilst I was at my dad's house I decided to watch Elvis again for like 14th, 15th time that I've watched the film the whole way through, the whole 3.5 hours of the film, which was excellently portrayed by Austin Butler, who played the famous king of rock and roll himself. And as an autistic girl who is infatuated with Elvis Presley stuff, Elvis Presley collections, Elvis Presley music that I listen to a lot, I listen to a local Elvis tribute that I go and watch, I thought today would be an interesting vlog to talk about the Elvis film as I watched it yesterday. So let's get into it. I hope you enjoy hearing my Elvis review. So at the beginning of this film, we see young Elvis experiencing his first experience of gospel and R&B music, because he lived in a community where it was people who were of a black minority, and you know, he lived in an environment where it was black gospel music, and he experienced his first ever taste of what it was like to be spiritual and to experience the spiritual sound of the gospel music, which he got his experiences into. And then the film goes into him getting into his first famous record deal and meeting Captain Tom Parker during the Louisiana hayride. And you can see that Elvis is very family focused, because in the Louisiana hayride you see that he's with his mum Gladys and his band that he had at the time, and he was very nervous. You see him puking outside the venue, you see him having the shakes, because you know he's going on stage for the first time at this Louisiana hayride to perform his song, but it was originally written by the artist B.B. King, which was It's Okay With Me Mama. And you see him performing it and he rocks it out really, really well. He has his pink and black suit on, absolutely amazing, looks stunning, absolutely amazing. He's dancing, he literally echoes the King, the foot movements, the little finger wiggle, the little jiggle, jiggle, jiggle that Elvis used to do, which was very controversial for back in that time. As you guys know, Elvis did get arrested and did get in trouble for his jiggle, the jiggle wiggles, they called it the Elvis wiggle. And yeah, he literally portrayed Elvis so well down to a T. And basically, you see him going from the Louisiana hayride to then getting the property, the keys for Graceland. And you see him moving in his family, his mum, his dad. And as he gets into collaboration with Captain Tom Parker, he then gets the Elvis Presley Enterprises estate, where he gets to make all merch to promote himself, and his dad becomes the business partner and his mum becomes like his secretary, and Captain Tom Parker basically takes over all Elvis's finances, all Elvis's estate, all Elvis's money, because then we find out later on in the film that Captain Tom Parker isn't as innocent as he likes to portray himself, and he likes to say, oh, I wasn't the villain of the Elvis story. Yes, you were. Captain Tom Parker was a slimeball. As you find out from later on in the movie, he was very dodgy, he had gambling debts, gambling addictions. He basically used Elvis as a way to clear his gambling debts and made him stay at the hotel all the time to perform, to make sure that his gambling debts weren't being noticed and that he could carry on gambling to his heart's content by using Elvis's name, money, fortune and the Elvis Enterprises estate against him, which was where Elvis's health started to go downhill. So as you get to watch the film, you see Elvis starts deteriorating. He gets very, addicted to pain medications. He gets very addicted to sleeping medications. And Captain Tom Parker says all that's important is that man gets on stage tonight. And he knows that the only way he's saying that is because he knows that he needs Elvis out there to make him money and to stop the hotel going against him and taking away his gambling privileges and all the money that he has won during his gambling time at the hotel, using Elvis as his backdrop. So then we go into Elvis going into RCA at the time, which was the Son Phillips record, where he ended his contract to let Captain Tom Parker take over all his finances, his record dealing, and he got him into doing movies and other songs, and Elvis basically didn't have a choice. It was very much you do as you're told. And then, as you can tell, when Elvis was then told, he had to go into the military to become the all clean American boy, then we find out he meets Priscilla Presley whilst he's at the army, and he has his hair chopped off. He becomes a normal private soldier, and then he ends up coming back and has this clean cut, all American classic boy American image, and then he ends up marrying Priscilla, and they end up having a little girl called Lisa Marie. As we all know, rest in peace, Lisa Marie. It's so sad that you're gone. But yeah, they end up having a little child, and Elvis gets to be on the road all the time, and obviously this does start causing friction with Priscilla and their marriage. And obviously Elvis was portrayed as a ladies' man. He was very obviously kissing women, kissing girls, hugging girls, and it became a problem for Priscilla because he was always constantly in the female eye, public attention. He was always on the road travelling, performing at multiple cities, multiple hotels, multiple places in the US, because he was never allowed out of the USA because Captain Tom Parker made sure he stayed within the United States boundary, even though he wanted to go to the UK, to Europe, to Japan, to other places, so other people could get access to his music and access to him. So Captain Tom Parker wasn't all a good person. Then you can see that Elvis and his family were highly manipulated. You can see that during his time having Captain Tom Parker as his manager, he did try to end the partnership more than once with Captain Tom Parker, and Captain Tom Parker always ended up manipulating his way back into the fold with Elvis and his family and the Elvis estate. As you guys know, if you watch the film, you'll find out that Elvis estate, after a few years, did end up getting the money back. That Captain Tom Parker stole from them, and it ended up going through a legal court case. But as someone who is a devoted Elvis Presley fan, and you see that Elvis goes to collaborate with B.B. King, whereas back in that day he had broken segregation laws. Back in that day, white and black people weren't allowed to mix. So it was the fact that Elvis was non-conformist. He broke the rules on multiple occasions. He wanted to collaborate with people who were similar to him, who had similar interests musically to him, and he loved to listen to gospel, soul, R&B music, as a lot of people know. He was very much a spiritual, soulful person. He liked to listen to gospel and R&B, and I think he also listened to a bit of drum and bass as well. But yeah, Elvis was very a family man, and as you can see throughout the film, Elvis is very people focused, family focused. Everything that he did was to earn his family money. He was trying to keep food on the table. He was trying to provide for his family to make sure they'd never be homeless or in poverty again, as Elvis's family were in poverty quite a lot of the time. His mum and his dad were very poverty stricken. His dad ended up going to prison at one point, and you see that in the film how they explain that his dad went to prison after writing a dodgy check, and then his mum falls ill and she ends up dying, and obviously that then does put Elvis in a bad state of mind, because he said, no, I can't perform, I don't want to do this, I don't want to, because his mum had died. So you see a really soft side to Elvis. You see a really different side to who the guy actually is, how he feels about his mama, how he feels about his dad and his family. And then you see him kind of mucking around on Graceland, playing with his friends, playing football, riding a go-kart around the grounds and everything else. So, Elvis did have a lot of manipulation, a lot of health issues, and to have such a big house at such a young age, and to be so rich and to be so popular, and, to have all the fame, fortune, and, he was very devoted to people who he cared about, and unfortunately his marriage to Priscilla was at risk at the end, and Priscilla ended up divorcing him because she just couldn't take how he was changing and how he was always becoming this different person she didn't recognise. Elvis became very withdrawn. When he didn't perform, he was staying in hotel rooms all day. He would sleep all day and then perform all night, and it was just, Elvis was a very messed up man towards the end. And also I want to talk about how he became attached to his friends known as the Memphis Mafia. That was mentioned throughout the movie quite a few times. Elvis had a really close, loyal bunch of friends who became him, and his friends became known as the Memphis Mafia gang. And it wasn't really a gang, it's just his friends who he collaborated with and hung out with. His friends that were trusted and would often live at Graceland or travel with him when he was on tour. He was like Elvis and the Memphis Mafia, they would always have his back. They would follow him around and obviously check to make sure that Elvis was okay. And obviously that was an attachment that grew and grew and grew and became well known within the world. If you didn't know that Elvis had a gang of friends called the Memphis Mafia, please research it. It is all online on videos. It is documents about that as well. Also, I want to talk about how he didn't conform to the rules. Elvis was a non-conformist. He did what he wanted to do when he wanted to do it, and he very much spoke up for himself. He was very much wanting to make a difference and do more gospel and country music. He was very in that arena of music. He was forced to do a lot of music he didn't want to, because that's how Captain Tom Parker had charge of him. He was very made to do as I say, do as I do, and you could tell when he was doing the Christmas performance where he was meant to do Santa Claus Lane, instead he did Hound Dog and all the classics, and didn't listen to him, and he was like, I'll show you what the real Elvis can do. I was like, hell yeah. And you see him proper rock out, and he's like, I'll show you the real Elvis. I was like, damn, you get to see him break the rules. He's like, I'm going to be me. I'm like, it's just nice to see him break away from the stereotypes and, the permissions of who he was and who he was told to be over the years. And Elvis always gets new fans, and obviously he says in the film, I'm a rebel without a cause. I kind of identify with that, because I'm someone that does identify being a rebel. I'm a nonconformist. I don't like rules. I don't like being told what to do. I'm very well, if you tell me what to do, I'm going to do something else. And if you tell me I can't do something, then I'm like, you watch me. And then I go and do what I want to do to prove you wrong. And I'm like, I like the fact he was like, I'm a rebel without a cause. I'm like, hell yeah, damn straight. I'm a rebel. I don't care. I'm very open-minded. I'm very about myself, very proud of myself. Yes, I'm autistic. Yes, I'm disabled. But, I'm very Elvis. I'm very headstrong. I lead myself. I lead my friends. I try and support my friends, my family. I do things to make myself proud of myself. And Elvis to me just speaks volumes. His fan reach was amazing back then. He had all the ladies, all the guys, all the older people, younger people. And now still to this day, he, God rest his soul, is no longer here to be with us in person. He is a fantastic person. He's reaching people like me who weren't even born when he was alive. I wasn't born till 88, and he died in 77. So, it was another 15 years or so before I was born. And now that I'm getting the privilege to listen to his music, listen to the genre, getting to know him as a person, because my late Aunt June, who sadly passed away, God rest her soul, she got me into Elvis music and told me about the history of Elvis, and she gave me some Elvis items to keep as part of her memory, because she sadly died of cancer. And I kind of become attached to a local Elvis tribute who she used to go and see, who I class as family, called Andy Otley. He is an amazing guy, and his wife Nikki. I've been following him for over 9 years, and I dress up, I get Elvisy, I make myself feel good. I've got spotty clothing, I've got Elvis tops, I've got sequin tops, I've got fake leather skirts, fake leather shorts, stuff like that. And it makes me feel part of that genre, that rock and roll era, the era of wearing short skirts and little tops and, little cardigans and putting little bows in my hair and other stuff like that. And I just love dressing up for Elvis. I think it's amazing. And it brings up that decade of where Elvis was so at the top of his height, at the top of his prime, and, dressing up and feeling that glitz glamour and feeling like $1,000,000, it just makes me feel really good when I dress up. And I really do enjoy dressing up in the Elvis clothes that I have. And obviously, he is someone that had a really, really mixed up past, and, he was someone who had a lot of control over him, and, I kind of identify with that. I've had a lot of people overprotect me and try and tell me what to do, and but I wanted to do a review on this Elvis film because it's something I feel is important to me as an Elvis fan, not just as a movie fanatic, but I love movies, I love theatre, I love going to watch films, productions, and to see Elvis' story told in such a way from someone who's a big fan of him and was actually chosen by Priscilla and the Elvis family himself. That shows how much Priscilla was willing to trust him with going to Graceland, staying there, writing songs there, getting to play Elvis's guitar, staying in the Jungle Room, having a tour around Graceland. And, it's just important to get Elvis's message out there and, tell his story word for word and experience it through someone who's able to dress up like him, style his hair like him, and actually sound authentically and dress authentically like him, and actually sell the family man story, not just a rock star story and the king of pop, king of rock and roll music. He showed the family side of Elvis, he showed the friend side of Elvis, he showed the side where Elvis was I'm done, leave me alone. Like, he wants to spend time with his wife and his daughter Lisa Marie, and I just think it's important to talk about this review. And I think Elvis was very mixed up, and I do feel sorry for him that he had so much pressure. He was constantly being told that, Elvis, you have to do this, Elvis, 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 all the time. He was constantly being pressured on the road, touring, singing, doing interviews, and I know he never got a break. And I think part of that was why his health went down the toilet so quickly, because he was always expected to do as he was told. When he was told, he was expected to go to this hotel, go to this meeting, go to this interview, go to this hotel, and I think part of it is I relate with that, because it's like, well, actually, no, stop telling me what to do. I'll do what I want to do when I want to do it. And I'm someone that doesn't like rules. I'm very free myself about that. And I think that's why I identify with Elvis and who he was, who he is as a person, his spirit, his genre of music, the decade of dress, the shoes that I wear like my little white boots. I've got some black and white shoes, and I've got some blue suede shoes, and I just feel connected to him. I feel there's something within me that connects to Elvis, not just because of the non-conforming, but being different, and the fact that he always was passionate about people who were different, and he always stuck up for them. So I hope you've enjoyed hearing this review. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, guys.